This short video will give you an introduction to Boston Borough Council and provide some information to help you understand better the role of a Borough Councillor. It may give you a completely new perspective on how vital councils are improving the lives of those in our communities. You may already be aware that local government is facing unprecedented challenges. There is less money available to us, but demands for services our residents rely on are increasing. Despite this, it's also an exciting time to play your part in local government and help make a difference to your communities. Elected representatives on the front line are accountable to residents who rely on the many statutory duties and responsibilities district and borough councils provide. The day-to-day life of a citizen is directly impacted by what councillors can achieve. The council will touch the lives of our residents in many different ways, from supporting them with housing benefit and applications for social housing, to considering applications from them for certain licences or planning matters and a much wider regulatory function that protects the public. Democratically elected local representatives have a unique and privileged position and the potential to make a real difference to people's lives. However, being a councillor is hard work. Every day they are expected to balance the needs of their local area, their residents and voters, community groups, local businesses, their political party, if they belong to one, and the council. All of these will make legitimate demands on their time on top of their personal commitments to family, friends and workplace. Councillors have many different roles to balance. As the locally elected representative, they will engage with residents and groups on a wide range of different issues and take on an important community leadership role. At the council, they will contribute to the development of policies and strategies, including budget setting, and may be involved in scrutinising council decisions or taking decisions on planning or licensing applications. A councillor's primary role is to represent their ward and the people who live in it. Councillors provide a bridge between the community and the council. As well as being an advocate for their local residents and signposting them to the right people at the council and possibly other agencies, they will also need to keep them informed about the issues that affect them. In order to understand and represent local views and priorities, they need to build strong relationships and encourage local people to make their views known and engage with them and the council. Good communication and engagement is central to being an effective councillor. Residents expect their local councillor to respond to their queries and investigate their concerns, communicate council decisions that affect them, know their patch and be aware of any problems, know and work with representatives of local organisations, interest groups and businesses, represent their views at council meetings, and lead local campaigns on their behalf. Councils are not just service providers, they also act as regulators. Councillors may be appointed to sit on the planning or regulatory committee, consider issues such as planning applications and licences for pubs and restaurants, and ensure that businesses comply with the law. In these roles, councillors are required to act independently and are not subject to the group or party whip. Training is given for all these responsibilities. Councillors are required to adhere to the council's agreed code of conduct for elected members. Each council adopts its own code. There is also training on this subject. Councils work with local people and partners, such as local businesses and other organisations, to agree and deliver on local priorities. They provide a wide range of services either directly, in partnership with others, or by commissioning them from a third party. Councils provide many services to local communities. Most are mandatory, which means by law the council must do them. Some mandatory functions are tightly controlled by central government and legislation, resulting in a similar level of service across the country. Other services are discretionary. The council has discretion over the type and level of service it provides. They range from large economic regeneration projects to heritage services such as the Guildhall Museum. Councils have been allowed to charge for some discretionary services, such as leisure facilities, for a long time. They now have a general power to charge for discretionary services, provided it is not prohibited by other legislation and the council does not make a profit. Boston is part of a three-tier area: county, district or borough councils and parish councils. In Lincolnshire, there are 7 district or borough councils, the county council and parish or town councils. Each layer of councils has a different set of responsibilities. Some councils have their own rental properties, council housing or social housing. Boston Borough Council does not own any social housing or what is known as housing stock. In Boston, this is run and managed by a number of registered social landlords who we work in partnership with. County councils provide services that cover the whole county, such as education, transport, planning, fire and public safety, social care, libraries, waste management, and trading standards. District, borough and city councils are smaller and provide local services such as rubbish collection, recycling, leisure services such as swimming pools, play areas and open spaces, CCTV, council tax and business rates collections, local planning, building regulations, environmental health, licensing, and homeless advice. In Boston, the most local tier of local government is a parish council. They maintain local amenities such as recreational areas, footpaths, and cemeteries. The parish council is also consulted on highway and planning applications. Parish councils operate a level below district and borough councils. They are elected and can help on a number of local issues, such as providing allotments, bus shelters, community centres, play areas and play equipment, grants to help local organisations, and consultation on neighbourhood planning. A councillor may serve on one or more tiers of local government, so a county councillor may also be a district councillor and a parish councillor. A council's paid employees are called officers. Unlike civil servants who work for the government, local government officers have a duty to support the whole council, not just the councillors with special areas of responsibility, known as the cabinet or portfolio holders. Officers must remain politically neutral. Very simply, councillors set the strategic direction and agree the policy framework of the council. Officers are responsible for providing professional advice, delivering the council's policies, and for the day-to-day operation of the organisation. Officers fall broadly into 2 main categories: frontline and support. Frontline officers deliver services to the public, for example, refuse collectors and ground staff. Support staff ensure that frontline services and the democratic process can operate smoothly, for example, through administrative, finance, legal, communications, and IT support. You may spend some of your time meeting with and discussing issues with senior officers. The most senior officer is the Chief Executive, also known as the Head of Paid Service. This is Phil Drury. Phil is supported by the corporate management team, who are Deputy Chief Executive, Monitoring Officer and Solicitor to the Council, Michelle Sachs. Chief Finance Officer, also known as the Section 151 Officer, Paul Julian. Head of Housing and Regulatory Services, Andy Fisher. Head of Corporate Services, Catherine Nundy. Head of Place, Phil Perry. And Head of Operations, Christian Allen. Boston Borough Council is a multi-million-pound organisation. Elected members and officers have responsibility for overseeing the spending of around £9 million every year. We have approximately 300 employees and there are 30 elected members. We spend a significant proportion of our budget on staff and the remainder on purchasing goods and services. We deliver the majority of our services through our staff, such as refuse collectors, street cleaners, leisure attendants, and customer service advisors. Boston also has responsibilities as a port health authority due to the local port and also provides funding to the internal drainage boards. Boston also has BTAC, Boston Town Area Committee, which is part of the Borough Council but has responsibility for the town wards in a similar way that parish councils have a responsibility for the parish wards. Decision making at the council is done in a number of different ways. In local authorities, they are made at different levels depending on the nature of the decision. The local authority will keep a record of what part of the council or which individuals have responsibility for particular types of decisions or those relating to particular areas or function. This is usually found in the council's constitution. For council officers, there will be a scheme of delegation which sets out their areas of decision making. There are several types of decision. Those reserved to full council, executive, key, non-executive, and delegated decisions. Some decisions can only be made by the full council, such as amendments to the constitution and budget setting. Full council is the meeting of all councillors held every few months. Full council elects the leader of the council, takes decisions over the constitution and bylaws, decides the budget, appoints the chief officers, debates motions and decides council policy. There are statutory roles for a Section 151 officer, usually the authority's treasurer, who has certain powers to ensure a balanced budget is passed, and a monitoring officer, usually a solicitor, to advise the council so it does not act unlawfully or risk being in breach of statutory requirements. The Cabinet, which operates like a board of directors, is responsible for making the majority of decisions, such as significant spending outside of the agreed budget or major issues which affect residents in more than one ward. The Cabinet is headed up by the leader of the council, usually the leader of the largest party or group at the council. The leader is joined by other councillors, known as Cabinet members. At Boston, there are currently 6 members of Cabinet in addition to the leader of the council. Individual councillors can be appointed to the position of Cabinet by a member of the leader. This Cabinet does not have to be politically proportionate. It can be made up entirely of councillors from the ruling party or parties. Key decisions are important to focus on. What is and is not a key decision will be defined in the council's constitution. Broadly speaking, they involve significant spending or cuts of great strategic importance, or that will have a big impact on the community. Councillors serve on a number of committees with specific areas of responsibility, such as planning and licensing and scrutiny committees, which either scrutinise decisions that are being made or spend time identifying key issues and developing approaches to tackle these issues. The Audit and Governance Committee is responsible for ensuring the finances and governance of the council are effectively managed. The Standards Subcommittee is responsible for promoting high standards of ethics and conduct across the council. We hope that what you have just heard has given you an insight into the role of a councillor. The next borough elections will be held in May 2019. The nominations period will open in March 2019 and the deadline to submit will be publicised on our website and social media channels. You will need to be proposed, seconded and also have a further 8 people as supporters to your nomination. As a candidate, you will be invited to a meeting to hear how the election is organised and run, including how we deal with postal votes, where the count of the votes will be held, where the polling stations are going to be, and to ask any further questions. It is your responsibility or your agents to present nomination papers to the returning officer before the statutory deadline. For more information, please do not hesitate to contact us via info@boston.gov.uk or call 01205 314 200. Thank you for listening.